Usually we can see how we look, but I can't.
Now we can't.
I mean, I can if you
can't
want
do that for 30 minutes.
You're right.
There, you can do that for 30 minutes.
if you want to see or something.
Actually, no, not really.
I didn't think so.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, white on white, my white hair on the white wall, that's good.
Do you say white?
What, you say white? No, I'm interested, do you?
Yes, I say white.
White.
I say white, always have.
Why?
Why? I do, why?
Why? You say white.
Why?
Why?
A new clap. All right.
Two waveforms to use.
Make sure that all synced.
We're all synced up. And I think now's a great moment to say that you're watching the Zip episode number 1 of season 2. We're at season 2, that means we're in the 2026 legislative session. It's a brand new session. How exciting. This is a podcast here to talk about the Vermont legislature from the perspective of two newbies. You're in your second half of your first biennium, so you're still relatively new, all considered. So this is The Zip. We're on your podcasting platform of choice. We're on Brattleboro Community Television and on YouTube. We do have an email address and would love to hear from you. The Zon and Ian podcast at gmail.com. I'm Johnny Gifford. I'm the producer. I'm here with my two buddies, as always, Ian Goodnow and Zon Eastis. What's up, guys?
Great to see you.
Hi, Johnny.
Hi.
Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, we're here in your territory.
Yeah,
today.
we're in the State House in Montpelier. This is great that you came up today. What are you here for?
Oh, wow. I'm so glad you asked.
Such a smooth transition to that.
Yeah. So I'm on the board of directors for the Vermont Access Network. You know, we're sort of representing all of the different community television and radio, to some degree, stations in Vermont. And over the past 4 or 5 years, we've been lucky enough to get appropriations and money from the legislature because you guys, and well, really your predecessors, see the value and importance of community media and community-based storytelling and government transparency and access and everything that we provide. So today's sort of our day to show up, be a presence, and say like, hey, we're still here, we exist, we appreciate your support, and you know, we need your support again. And that's kind of why I'm here. And I like making a weekend of it, making a day of it. I love being up here and chatting with people, as exhausting as it is. And it's a Friday. We're recording this on Friday, January 30th.
Friday afternoon,
January 30th, the end of the day, and like, woof, like, just me being here one day, I am cooked.
Yeah. Well, and that you get the experience of now multiply that by another 3 days, and then by the time I get back to Brattleboro on Friday evening, I am wiped. Yeah.
I bet.
Yeah.
So, how are you feeling? I mean, you just sort of outlined that a little bit, but like in the context of this week specifically, how are you doing? Zon, you start.
It's impressive. I mean, every day for me starts at 8 o'clock or before, and I go till 4:30 or 5, and maybe I have a little time to eat some lunch. And otherwise, just every single minute is taken up, either in committee work, on the floor, being in other committees, looking at what's going on, doing research. It's just, it's very impressive, very, very tiring.
Yeah.
I will say that,
Yeah, and I think as the session goes on, something that I've experienced, I'd be curious on, we haven't really talked about this, talking about like the perspective of a new member. Last session, the first half of the biennium, we kind of had a little bit of a ramp up.
Yeah.
The first week or two was like, okay, like we're meeting each other, we went around and introduced ourselves in the committee. A lot of people came in and testified sort of like, I come from this department and this is what this department does. So there was like a lot of just intro stuff. The second half of the biennium, this session, bam, like I think in the first week we voted out 3 bills and like we took on like new stuff, and we were taking testimony on stuff that we had started last session, like day one, you know. So I almost feel like I've been in the session longer.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I would agree with that. Yeah. I mean, for me, we just finished week 4 today, and the bills that we're looking at right now and the issues that we've been touching and the testimony that we've been receiving has just been so overwhelming. It's so compelling. I mean, that I was talking with you earlier today saying one of the things I love about the Vermont legislature is that how citizen-based it is, and I don't mean that we're citizen legislators, we are, but the whole notion of how our government works in Vermont is that we really base it on listening to people speak about what their experiences are, and then having that shape how we put together legislation. So there's real opportunity for Vermonters to be engaged in processes, and just listening to the passion and the stories that people tell is very, very compelling and thorough and tiring.
Yeah,
there's a lot of hard stories that you're hearing, I'm sure, because that's how bills get crafted and made, because something isn't working or something needs to advance in some way. And so you got to hear all of that raw data and process it, and that's like almost sometimes taking on like secondhand trauma, I think, which is a lot to deal with.
It feels like that for sure.
And I think often the reason we're looking at a statute and trying to change it is because something bad has happened. Or is happening and needs to be addressed. And I think it's pretty rare that we're looking at something and it's like, this works great, so we're gonna tinker with it. No, it's like we're triaging the issues, and the issues are human lives often. It's happening in people's lives.
And the big issues that are facing us right now, we all know what they are. It's about relief from taxes, it's education, it's housing, it's healthcare, and homelessness. Those issues are just huge in the state of Vermont. Practically everything we look at or talk about in the House has some connection to one of those issues. So it's like we're not looking at discrete little topics and thinking of things in our own committees or whatever, but it's all part of a big system that isn't quite working right now in Vermont, I think. And I think a lot of people are aware of that, and we're doing what we can to try to bring some, hopefully, some better systems, some better approaches, some relief, some caring to the system. And it's not to say that didn't exist before, it just wasn't where it needed to be. There's still failure around the state, I think.
Boy, Zon, you're really starting to sound like a seasoned legislator.
You think? Or whatever, I guess I jumped in the deep end. It's what you have to do here, it's really, but I gotta say it's impressive. I mean, here, I'm an old guy, but I'm only in my second year here. Listening to people just talk about these issues is so completely compelling too. I mean, when I say people, I mean the other legislators. Listening to ideas and the thoughtfulness that people have in trying to get at the central nuggets here and try to put things together. I was just talking with Mark Mahaley this morning, who's chair of the Housing Committee, and just listening to him talk about and understand how completely basic housing is to every single question we have in Vermont.
That's true.
And so as he's addressing it, he's aware of all that, and he's thinking about, well, we can't take care of everything right away. It's just not possible. Vermont's really far behind on its housing starts over the last numbers of years. So what can we do that's going to make a difference as we go forward that will also begin to build a base for what's coming ahead? And it's impressive to watch that kind of thinking and know that it's happening here.
And that's going to require a lot of community partners too. Like you can set policies and put energy forward to begin certain processes or initiatives, but you can't do it unless you're really working with everyone from the top down.
Absolutely.
I think.
One of the issues that we just took some testimony on this week is the kind of intersection of where mental health and the court system, and specifically orders of non-hospitalization, which is this. Everybody is I think most people are aware of this issue. Basically, there's something not working right with some people who have mental health concerns and are also being charged criminally, and what happens when they are not able to basically sit as a defendant because they can't aid in their own defense. So currently that system is pretty broken, but hearing the testimony about the system is the realization that it intersects with so many different partners and so many different organizations and so many different departments, and trying to unlock this system and then recreate it in a way that's going to work is monumentally difficult. And also at the same time, not only just the systems, but keeping in mind that we are holding very important, like, fundamental rights of Vermonters at stake, right?
Absolutely.
Like, so it's just like all those different things happening, and you sometimes just sit there and go like, oh boy.
I think I'll just keep listening. It's like
But to our viewers, I think, like, to our many viewers,
which there are many
viewers, what I feel comforted with, at least a little bit, is that we are trying to tackle the issues. Like, the things that I hear in Brattleboro that people are concerned about, I hear up here.
Absolutely.
It's like I do really feel like we at least have our finger on the pulse of, like, what Vermonters are concerned about. Now, whether we're actually going to resolve those issues is like a whole other discussion. But at least the fact that we're having the conversations seems like a good start.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, when I contrast the sense I have here in the State House in Vermont, how I think of us as being in or out of touch with our communities, it feels very in touch compared to my understanding of what's going on in the national picture, for instance, and how completely disengaged that feels to what life is like for most people, the current administration at the federal level. So in some ways it's really heartening to be here and being engaged in these conversations, but it is hard. Yeah.
So I'm curious, sort of riding on that, like, you're up here and you're seeing, like, sure, a lot of similar themes come up that maybe come down in your own districts that you represent. How do you, like, stay in touch with the perspectives and the issues of your communities while you're up here? Because you're here to represent their thoughts, their views through your, like, expertise or your abilities. So how do you stay in touch with those, like, local constituents while you're up here advocating for things bigger than that?
Okay, I have, like, a first answer.
And
it's kind of a joke, but it's kind of not. There's a lot of other things, like making sure you're staying on top of correspondence with constituents, which is like a constant struggle. I think, like, some emails that I get require really considered response and, like, finding the time to do that. I think that's one of the things that, like, I'm learning how to do as a new member, and it's taking time. But something kind of completely separate from what you would think about normally to answer that question is, up here, I try to say my town's name a lot.
Okay.
About myself. Like I jokingly, when I, like, introduce myself, I'd say, I'm Representative Goodnow from beautiful downtown Brattleboro. I talk about serving people of Brattleboro in kind of, again, sort of a jokey way, because people don't really talk like that up here. But, like, just bringing my town's name into the air, it's just, like, it can be really easy to kind of step away, and you're now in Montpelier, you're working in the State House, you're like, you're doing this, you're doing that, but just the act of saying Brattleboro a lot, because people don't hear Brattleboro up here, they don't hear that name very often, and so that is something I just tried to do, and it's an element of my own sort of, as I'm learning what kind of rep I am.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a very good point. I mean, compared to your situation, when I say Guilford, which I'm happy to do, and I do a lot, dead stairs. There are a lot of people who have no idea where that is, and you can just tell by the way they're looking. They need some help right then. So I just usually say, bottom of the state, below Brattleboro. And,
so you say Brattleboro?
I do say Brattleboro.
I think when you're saying Guilford, you have to say Brattleboro.
Yeah, exactly.
Unfortunately.
Yeah.
Well,
to Anchor.
Or Vernon. My gosh.
Yeah.
And then there are many folks in my two towns. Don't love to hear us connected to Brattleboro at every turn, but it does put us on the map in a certain way. People at least know where things are. Yeah. I think I would say that it's important. I mean, I have a monthly, and I think you do too. These monthly talks. Or meetups in town. I meet once in Guilford one month, and then in Vernon the next month, and it's those are great, and people are getting more and more engaged as they learn more about the issues, and they learn more about what I'm saying and what I'm doing. The last time I met, I had the biggest turnout I've ever had, and it was just nice, and I hope it continues to grow, because it gives me a chance to really hear what people are talking about, and then I can feel whether or not I'm kind of on the same page. I mean, let's face it, there are certainly people sitting in Guilford or Vernon right now who, when I say I'm here for all Vermonters, I'm sure they can say, well, you're not for me. And I'm not for I can't be for any one single person. I just can't be. But I can be for all the Vermonters that live in Guilford and Vernon, and I can think about them and I bear them in my mind as I'm thinking about all the issues and the votes I'm making and things like that. So,
and you're right, that's the tension and the balance that you hold in this role of like you represent your own community, but then also like we vote on things that have nothing to do with our communities. Like we voted on the charter changes because in Vermont, because we are a Dillon's rule state, we vote on the legislature votes on charter changes for towns, which is like kind of a fascinating thing to me because I like municipal law.
Well, Brattleboro might be coming here soon.
Yes. So we just voted on Burlington and Essex charter, right?
Yeah.
So like looking at that, thinking about it, hearing the bill report, thinking about all that stuff, like it's nothing like Brattleboro, it doesn't really influence. But I am thinking about Brattleboro's charter change, which may be coming, and how that process is going to look. And so, yeah, it's just that tension and that balance.
Yeah.
And I think like you're always kind of trying to strike it right.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, I mean, we are here representing the entire state as well. We're asked to do that at various times.
Yes.
While we're also representing our own community. So yeah, that kind of balance.
And I think that because you're representing the whole state while you're here in a way, for example, through charter changes that you might learn a thing or two, you can bring that back to your communities too.
Absolutely.
That's kind of a two-way street there.
Totally.
You're getting things from your constituents, but you're also kind of giving it back in a way.
Yeah.
Now, Ian, I know you're kind of like, you're involved with like Brattleboro delegation, like meetups and things like that too, like what Zon was saying. They do those at the library.
Yeah,
often,
library first Saturday of the month, so we'll have our first one since the session started up next week, which will be great. And then trying to like help, for example, with a charter consideration, like what's the timing look like? Like if we're for the municipality to bring it up, like when should they vote it out? How does it work? How quickly can it get resolved? All those things, and I think being sort of an advocate for Brattleboro up here, but also bringing that knowledge back there so that they can effectively do what they're trying to do is all part of the role. So and then I think my only other answer is again kind of less like answering emails and stuff, but I try to like go out in Brattleboro for dinner and stuff when I get back, like on the weekend. I try not to just hide in my house the whole time, even though
as easy as that could be.
Yeah, well, and you hear, like you spend all week up here talking constantly, like listen to Zon and I, like we cannot stop talking because that's like part of what it feels like being up here.
I felt that way today, and I was like, "What is wrong with me? I can't stop talking.
I can't stop." And sometimes it's very important too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, so it can feel really easy to get back and just like hide. But I try to not to like go in town and try to see people, and which I think is an important part of staying connected. Yeah, and I would say that on that line, to go one step more in my experience, is that my former life, if you want to say it that way, not being a legislator, I was known as a musician in town, and people know me and people approached me in that light. But now people have an added reason to approach me, and there's something about sort of opening yourself up to that kind of approach and being available to people and letting them feel you being available is important, and it's a skill I'm learning, as well. It's interesting. Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That's interesting. You don't think about it when you're here, I imagine. I certainly am not even thinking about the fact that you're representing real people while you're here at all, because I'm so caught in like all these different bills that are going through and just like all the personal interactions that you have with people. Like the social element of being in the State House is so strong and really drives the way that bills progress too. Yes. So I forget that sometimes, and thank God I'm not a legislator. Because I'm forgetting that you're supposed to be here representing people. Like it's really these social dynamics that are driving so much.
Well, it's absolutely true that even the way the whole structure is set up, that the chairs of the committees control a huge amount of information and control the processes that happen, and we're guided by our chairs about who we need to be talking to and what we need to be doing in order to make things go a certain way. There's a way in which, when I got voted.
The State House is closing in 15 minutes. Please gather your belongings and exit the building. Thank you.
We get to stay.
The State House is closing in 15 minutes. Please gather your belongings and exit the building. Thank you.
I got friends in high places.
Yeah. Look at that. We're really here. We weren't lying.
Really the end of the day.
In a warehouse in Montpelier somewhere. We're actually in the State House.
You were saying something.
Yeah.
Yes. Can I remember that blasted my head right out? Yeah, I forget. Usually it happens, they put that warning up about 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
And so, but it is Friday afternoon, much earlier today. So yeah.
I think just building on that, probably trying to keep that in mind, that you are here representing real people, is like part of how you stay a good representative. And that I can feel it, and I'm sure others do too, that there's sort of there is an ability to be up here and totally forget.
Yeah.
You know, and like I say that very humbly. Like it's just like you're removed from your community. It's exciting. Like people want to talk to you about stuff, and like you sort of feel very individual in a way. But I can already tell that if you really lose that perspective, you will not be as good of a representative.
Absolutely. I mean, yesterday, for instance, I was sitting in committee and a page brought me a note, and it was just from a constituent of mine that asked me to call her because she had a question. So last night I called her. That's great. That kind of thing just puts you right back into, this is what I'm doing here.
Yeah.
I understand it. And so it was great to talk with her, and I'll look into her question, and maybe I'll have an answer, maybe I won't, but at least I can, it was great to make that connection.
Yeah, and that's a really fun way to get pulled back. And that's something about the State House, like we have. So there are pages who deliver pieces of paper to people all the time. They're always running around. They have really cute little green suits on.
And they're like kids.
They're kids. Yes.
Yeah.
That is an important thing to mention. And so you'll be like sitting in committee, I'm like listening to really difficult testimony, and then a page comes in, doesn't know who I am, so he's like going around to every single person, finally finds me and hands to me, and it's like just like a constituent telling me that they are concerned or want me to pay attention to a completely different random bill that I have there are so many, and it's a good that's right, there's like so much happening here, and I have people who are paying attention who have other concerns that I need to make sure I'm thinking about.
People in our communities are paying attention, and they're letting us know.
Yeah.
And that just feels so great.
Yeah, which my plug would be just like keep it up.
Absolutely.
I think one of the things I'm very proud about representing Brattleboro is how engaged my community is, and our communities are.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that makes us better reps too.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This is we come from very engaged communities.
Yes.
I think.
Oh yeah, well, it's no kidding. I mean, I'm watching. There's an incredible conversation going on in Guilford right now about because of what happened in Minneapolis, and so there's just an incredible conversation about how do we get prepared as a community and who should be talking and all this kind of stuff. Great conversations. Yeah. It's really great to see it happening.
And that is something too. Like to talk a little bit about this week. Like we had a resolution. House bills, Senate bills, and then resolutions are kind of like this third body of document that we consider on the House floor, which is often congratulating people, honoring people, things like that. It is rare for one, in my experience, both while I've been here, but also from before, that they talk about federal or statewide, national news. It's sort of holds more Vermont usually. Mm-hmm. And this was a resolution about what's happening in Minneapolis and condemning what's happening and sort of tying on to what Governor Scott has said about it. Yep. And it was pretty intense. It was pretty intense and pretty, I think, controversial for some legislators who have been here a long time, who felt like we're stepping outside of kind of what the role of this is. But we're in unprecedented times. So it's
unprecedented times, yeah. And I think there's a lot, or I'm aware of a lot of concern out in Vermont about what could happen in Vermont if, for instance, the federal forces came into our state. What might happen? And, there's concern. I've heard people even say that the fact that our Republican governor made a statement, as he did, about what happened in Minneapolis might be enough to target Vermont in a certain way. So, we're all just balancing and thinking and considering these things. But I was heartened by the fact that the resolution was put forward by two independents. Mm-hmm. It wasn't put forth by the majority party. It just speaks to the kind of the thoughtfulness and the thoroughness of the processes here. That it's not all, lest anyone think that what happens in the House and the Senate is run completely by Democrats. It's absolutely not the case. Yes, the Democrats have control in a lot of ways, but we don't control every aspect of what happens.
So to kind of like wrap up in the next maybe 5 to 10 minutes or so, I want to touch on the governor's state of the state.
Yeah.
What are just sort of your impressions coming away from that, and how that might set the tone for the rest of the session?
Well, it was pretty remarkable, I think, that he spent the entire state of the state talking about education. The last years, I'm trying to even think back to, but it was very different and touched on a lot of different issues. And this year, he used the education as a way to talk about some other things, but like the entire topic of that speech was education and the education bill. And so the first takeaway is just that the administration's top priority is education, and that is going to dictate the pace and how other things move through the legislature as well that are not educated related, because education is top priority.
Yeah, and I think it was a little, I guess I would just say I was disheartened that he chose to essentially threaten the House and the Senate with saying that he won't sign a budget at the end of the session for the next year unless there's a proposal to divide the state up into these supposed districts, and he wants that work done before he'll sign a bill. And I'm not sure that is going to go that way. We don't have anything to report. I don't think you do. I certainly don't. I mean, do you
think I'm? Breaking news on Sim. Let me tell you, it's going to be 13.
There we go. Listen to him.
That's going to get a ring to it.
Yeah, I don't think we know. We don't. I mean, the Education Committee is working hard, but they are looking once again at ways in which they have to kind of wrestle with this idea that the governor put forward, and what are we going to do?
And part of the problem with an ultimatum like that is one, it doesn't give you a lot of maneuvering ability. I'm not trying to criticize too much, but like that's one issue. And the other issue, and this is the real one, is that it is amazing to me how information and data informed the decisions that are made in this body are.
Right.
And so part of the purpose of Act 73 and giving the timelines that we did was to allow for decisions to be made based on data, based on information, and based on expert testimony.
Yeah.
And the problem is the data and the expert testimony and the information we're getting is maybe going to result in something different than what was initially proposed.
Yeah, well,
and that's a problem.
And will everyone listen to that?
Exactly. And that's really difficult. That's like, and like that. I think that's what I see as one of the biggest tensions.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, I think there was a study group in the summer that was tasked with trying to set up these districts, and they came back with a different kind of take on the whole thing, but it was incredibly well studied and incredibly well informed from a data point of view what their findings were, and I believe it's worth considering all of their points of view and taking that in as part of the process. But that probably can't happen in a way that I see we tend to work here. That probably can't happen if we have this vision of the governor's threat out there.
It will certainly impact the way that, and then there is just sort of like, there's also just the momentum. You know, that's like a very real thing that I've felt in this body, where things get speed and weight, and they keep moving, and they're moving, and you either get out of the way or you get run over, you know? So
it's going to be interesting to see what happens. I mean, that's something, I feel like as a new person still, I mean, there's so much I'm learning about how things move or don't move or whatever, but So it's impossible to predict. There'd be no point in even trying to guess at what's going, except for Ian's 13 districts.
That's
Not a plan.
I'm good. I'm a man with plans.
You should start your own committee. It's Education Committee 2.
We meet below them, down in the basement.
Oh yeah. Well, everybody's, there are 1,000. I mean, that's the other thing. You can talk to any group of 12 people, and there are 12 different ideas. You talk to a different group of 12 people, and there are 12 still other ideas. And this body isn't about, we don't work in a way that's to build consensus. That's not necessarily the way we work all the time. It's to look at the data and try to inform the best systems we create and inform the systems that we have. And you don't do that by just everybody going, talking about how you feel about something and trying to get to the same point of view.
Yeah, we probably wouldn't be able to get anything done.
Yeah,
if we did it by consensus.
Yeah, it wouldn't happen.
Yeah.
So that's why voting, the notion of democracy, the voice of every one of us, finally becomes the thing.
We're 1 month in and you're talking about notions of democracy.
Well, it's because I'm just now finally getting it.
Oh.
This whole time you didn't know how democracy
Like,
works.
how did I get up here?
Really, exactly. Yeah.
Poor confused man. So.
Well, so I mean, I know we're getting to the end, but
Look at this.
one thing.
We just can't stop talking.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I learned just a few days ago, I mean, this is how you learn, and it's fantastic. But I know, for instance, this old speak in Brattleboro, I'm on the Human Services Committee, we deal with the notions of homelessness, and there's this incredible discussion in the state of Vermont, but especially in Brattleboro, I hear about the notion that people come to Vermont to get services. Statistically, and from a data point of view, that's not the case if you look at the entire state. I understand that in Brattleboro, because it's close to 2 other states, that there may be some influx that if there's going to be a raise in that percentage, it'll probably happen down in that corner of the state. But I just learned the other day that in order to give aid to anyone, there's no question, there cannot be any question about where are you from, do you belong here or not. If a person needs aid, no matter where they're from a federal point of view, that person deserves aid. So that, for me, changes the question. It begs that question that folks have in Brattleboro a lot. That person's not from here. We have Vermonters we need to care for. I get it. I understand that tension, but the reality is everyone needs to be helped if they step forward asking for help. And how do we do that? And it's not an easy thing.
There's nothing like Johnny trying to wrap up this, and you just open up like the
biggest can of worms. Yes, exactly.
It's a big question.
It's a big question.
And I hear all the time in Brattleboro a complaint of why are we giving so many human services when these people aren't from here? And and this is I did some research on this, and this is not a.
You've done your own research.
I've done my own research. This is not a question that is specific to Vermont either.
Yeah, of course.
Like,
oh no.
So many other places have said this exact same thing.
Right.
And studies have been done, and by and large, that is just not the case.
Yeah. So we had our legal counsel came in the other day and just listed for us all the cases where states have tried to limit, and every single one of them has been struck down. Yeah. So the notion of limiting by claiming prior residency or whatever, it won't fly. It just won't fly.
Yeah, and that does just like one final point that I think I'm feeling is also like can be very it's great. Is that it's amazing. Just bring up like the most like spicy thing in Brattleboro right as we're closing up. Is that like you sort of forget that like all the other states in the union are working on all the like most of the issues that we have are not unique to Vermont. Like some are, and I love to believe that Vermont is a very unique and perfect state in a lot of ways. But like I often, when we're in judiciary, when we're working on things. And we're looking at like what should the criminal penalty be for this lewd and lascivious act that we're now making a crime, and I can like pull up and look at other states who have this crime now on the books and see what they decided to do, and they may not be right, or I may not think that they are right, but like just seeing that the discussion is happening, and it can be easy to forget that you can just like also look to neighboring states or across the country. They're all working on the same things.
Yeah.
So
It's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's 4 o'clock on a Friday, and I think it's
Oh my God.
a really good time to wrap up
I
right
know.
now. It's been a day for me and a week for you guys, I imagine. But
Yeah.
just keep up the good work, and I'm really grateful that I was able to come up
Oh
here
my God.
and
It's
so great
spend
to
some
see
time
you.
with you guys.
No.
I just kept running into this guy all day. I didn't see
I was
you
just
all
sitting
day.
in committee.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I was sitting right outside that room all day. Just waiting, begging for you to come out.
Oh no. And I want to shout out Johnny for also bringing up the camera equipment and all the stuff for us to actually do this. So really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Hopefully it doesn't look and sound terrible. We'll see.
Well,
We'll see.
We'll
Yeah,
see.
yeah. But so fun. I'm really happy to see you both. And I'm excited to do more of these, especially with the session. I mean, we literally can fill up like as much.
As we see.
Yeah, as we see.
There's so many things we didn't even talk about.
Yeah, you can talk about
exactly.
BAA, you can talk about
exactly.
To be discussed next time.
Yeah.
Stardust is our opening and our closing piece. It's composed by Clark Hubbard, performed by the Vanderbilt Percussion Group, recorded and produced by Continuous Motion Productions. We are the ZIP, the Zon and Ian podcast. We have an email, the Zon Ian podcast @gmail.com. We're live on Brattleboro Community Television, maybe sometimes WVEWLP as well. This has been a wonderful little episode, season 2 opener with Zon and Ian. Thank you guys for doing this with me here today.
Thanks so
Thank
much.
you.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot.
See you next time.